Hello and welcome back to the U Up podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? What's happening? What's going on?
I'm all right. I had a weekend. I was just telling you I spent the weekend having a great time taking off the wallpaper in my house, which we've discussed last week is horrendous.
It's a sight to be seen.
Yeah, I think it's funny for
You
a
should do
while.
tours.
I held back from talking about like just how absurd, like terrible the wallpaper was. I was like, maybe she'll listen. I was like, why would she listen?
And if she does,
Yeah.
who gives a shit?
Right. She doesn't
It's your
fucking
house
live
now.
there anymore.
Yeah, fuck her. Like,
Fuck her.
she's
She
got
had a
horrendous
leak,
taste.
and she didn't tell us.
Yeah. Listen, to each their own.
Right.
You know, and listen, it's got to feel accomplishing. That's the nice part about owning the space. Is like you're doing things
Right.
for your own good, your own investment. That's nice.
Exactly. And I feel like, again, with every wallpaper piece that I strip off, I feel like I'm taking ownership of
yours.
this home, because it doesn't really feel, when you move into a house, it kind of feels like you're in like an Airbnb or someone else's house, because I didn't choose any of the like decor.
Especially your house. I mean, you move into your house, it was like moving into like the Magic Kingdom. There were decisions made.
Right. That were definitely very far away from the decisions that I would have made. I mean, I don't want to pretend like I love the house. It's just like it needs my stamp on it.
I got a lot of responses about how much fun people had listening to our conversation about the house.
Well, that's why I loved having that conversation with you, because we have such a relationship that like it's very honest, and it's not like offensive, but it's
Right.
very real, and it's very like, you know, you get the full nuanced take of it.
Yeah.
Because most people, again, I show them the house and they're like, oh yeah, that's so cool. Like you could do that with, or like they pretend to love one of the things that's awful. And there was none of that
Right.
from you. So I thought it's kind of like when you reviewed my wedding.
Mm.
I thought that was great too, because
Yeah.
it was like, here's like the real, you're not like bullshitting.
Well, I'm happy you trust that I'm not going to like take, I think you have to trust the person giving the review that they're not going to take cheap shots.
Right.
You know,
You're going to be classy about it.
Yeah, you can give a review with class. Like,
Yes.
you know, the idea that like, oh, is this where you live? Is like a bad way to say something. It's
Right.
like, oh my God, the grounds here are amazing. This is going to be an amazing house one day.
Right.
I can't believe that these decisions were made in certain rooms
Yeah.
from the past. And it's not about you. If anything, if she is listening,
It's about
doesn't like me.
you. If you're listening. Well, yeah, maybe I'll do a before and after so you guys can fully see what we're talking
I think
about.
you have to.
Yeah.
I think you have to. I think there's got to be a Betches exclusive.
100%.
Yeah, what you did.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. I've had some interior designers reach out to me.
Really?
I can help.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's the great thing about this audience. They're always looking to lend a helping hand.
Always looking to help on that subject.
What's going on with you?
I'm going to be on the Tonight Show. If you are a
Amazing.
subscriber tonight, I'll be on the Tonight Show. If
Tonight.
not, it's
so
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
If you're a
Okay.
subscriber to You Up with Benefits, I'm on the Tonight Show tonight. You can watch it. If not, and this comes out Wednesday, there'll be a YouTube video of the whole set that I'll be putting out on my socials. So I would love for you to check it out and comment positively, because that's kind of the world of YouTube. It's always nice to see, you know, positive You Up responses, and watch it and enjoy it. Share with friends.
I'll be doing that, and I'm sure we'll
Thank
share it on the You Up socials
I
as
would
well.
love that.
Does it feel like the second time, or you're kind of like, I got this? Because
No, it feels. I'm very nervous about it.
Okay.
Because
are you as excited as you
no,
were? Okay.
this is a job.
So
This
it's
is when
the worst of all worlds.
What?
You're not less nervous, and you're not more excited.
more
Okay.
more nervous, less excited.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, because this is where it becomes your career. I think I was thinking about this. Like, you go from like these, like, I gotta get the Tonight Show, then you get it, you're like, we did it,
Right.
And then the next time they go, hey, and again, this is thanks to the audience here. Like, let me say a thank you to all the listeners, and your support is part of the reason I'm doing the Tonight Show again. Like, I gotta do well,
Yeah.
you know, you gotta
clearly you did well last time. They weren't like, no, who booked this guy?
Right. So well enough to get the call. And I'd been getting the call from them before the writer's strike. They were like, they wanted me to like fill in, and I've been on the radar, so to speak, to do it again. So I knew this was kind of coming at some point.
Okay.
But it does become like, okay, a career decision, because you saw the new set. I got to like
Amazing,
pluck
yeah.
things from that. I don't want to ruin the road set that I've been doing live. I'll be in Philadelphia Friday night. If anyone's listening, we added a second show. It might just be me in the chairs in the room. No, Philadelphia this weekend. And adding more and more shows. I'm adding New York. We're going to do a New York show.
Awesome.
So I can do the new material there.
When is the New York show?
It's all coming. I think today we release it. But it's coming. Something's coming.
Something's coming. Well, we know it's coming.
It's
so,
coming.
yeah.
San
You know where it
Francisco,
is?
Denver, Town Hall.
Oh, great.
So
Love
we've
Town
done
Hall. Yeah.
Town Hall. So New York Town Hall, San Francisco, all getting added to my calendar. Denver's been added. Syracuse, I'm coming to soon. This is a bad plug job, but Plug City.
Well, jaredfreed.com. You can see all of the
jaredfreed.com.
dates out there.
Boston, Chicago, all these major cities. So I have that set that I've been working on. So you have to decide, like, okay, I got to pluck 5 minutes from this. Now I
Right.
lose 5 minutes from the set I'm doing on the road because I can't repeat. To me, the rule for
Right.
me personally, if it's been taped and put on a platform, Netflix, NBC, you're done,
over.
kid. It's over.
Right.
You do a new joke. So
Right. So it's probably hard because you have to you don't want to take the best 5 minutes.
Right.
Because then you lose that. But you also don't want to take the worst 5 minutes because it's going to be seen by everyone.
right. It's an element of like, you don't get another chance at it. You know, when I do it at the live show, anytime you see a joke, I'm always thinking like, well, I'll make it better someday when.
Right.
Now I got to like hunker down. So I got, so I know what I'm going to do. I think I have an idea of what I'm going to do. It's it's probably at 7 minutes now. I got to get it down to 5 minutes. So I'll take something out from it to see what doesn't work, does work. Yeah, it's a process. And I want people to be able to, it becomes what these Tonight Show videos become is business cards.
Right.
Like when someone comes to your show, they go, oh, here's the guy. He was just on the Tonight Show. Oh, okay. Let me watch the clip. Maybe I'll come to the show.
Right. It's like when they write Academy Award winner,
That's
whatever,
right.
in the beginning of a movie or like when they're advertising the movie. It you get a little more excited to see it.
Right. And credibility.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to do it, but I'm also, there's stakes. Like,
All right. Well,
I
you've
could have
got-
just done nothing. Like I could have just been floating along.
But
So now
clearly
it's
this is
more
better.
work. This is better.
Better than nothing,
Better
yeah.
than nothing. Always good. We're going to promote the special on it.
Right.
So they'll say, Jimmy Fallon will be like, you can go watch his Netflix special now.
Yeah.
In the intro and outro, and then it'll be good. After this, I'm leaving to go get fitted for some clothes.
Oh, nice.
I
New
think my
wardrobe.
parents are gonna come in to bother me and make it harder. So, I get my parents coming in for the day.
That's great.
Yeah, so they're gonna
And they're
be.
gonna come see it live.
They'll come see it live, and that's what's going on. I don't know. I kind of feel like shit. I'm just exhausted. I need it's just one thing after another, and then this comes up, and I'm
Good
like,
things, right?
all good
Yeah.
stuff,
Well,
all
that's
good.
It kind of just goes to show you kind of get used to any situation.
Mm.
If it's bad, you get used to it, and even if it's great, it's it doesn't feel as great. It doesn't feel as exciting as the first time you got it.
You
Right.
can never repeat. That's what my dad said my whole life.
Never
You
go
can-
on vacation to the same place.
Can't
I
go to the
don't think.
vacation to the same place because you think you're gonna have the time you had that one time, and you just don't. So I'm trying to keep my expectations in check. I was on with Taylor Swift last time.
That was cool. Yeah.
Never saw her, but that was the guest. I'm excited to see who the guests are. That's fun.
Yeah.
Someone once said, I think another comic I heard, Mark Norman, very funny. He was like, you get to be on network TV for 5 minutes. There's nothing that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You get to say whatever you want for 5 minutes on network TV. That's pretty
and
cool.
it's live.
Well, they tape to live. You tape in front of
It's
a
a little
studio
bit of a
audience.
lag.
You tape it at 5.
Right.
And then it's at 11:30
Okay.
that
right.
night. So
But I think I was gonna say if it's truly live, the amount of power.
right.
Right. You could
can
say anything. Yeah.
you do
but-
have to submit a transcript, so I'm going through that now.
Right.
It's exciting. This is all good stuff. I'll look back on this part of life and be like, wow. I and then listen to this recording, I'll hear how stupid I sounded.
Well, just try to remember that feeling that you got the first time you were given the green light to go on the show, and
Right.
how exciting that was, and you kind of lose a little bit of you get used to things, but
Mhm.
it's very cool.
It's very cool. It's very cool. And I hope it's cool for people who listen here. Like, you know, I always talk about like when you know someone before they get something, it's like having their rookie card. Like it's like talking about the
Right.
band before they made it big or whatever. So I hope it's cool for people that listen. Again, I don't think it's the coolest thing to happen to you. I think, but it's nice. You're part of this too. So it means a lot.
Well, I'll be tuning in.
Thank
What time
you.
is it at? Like 11? 10?
11:35 is when it starts.
Okay.
After Seinfeld. No, I don't know. Whatever it is. It's after
Just
the
watch
news.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, just watch at the end. You can see what I chose to wear. That's today's agenda.
Yes.
Always
You're a
weighs
fashion
on me.
influencer.
I am an influencer. I do
Yes.
like to influence.
What are you wearing today?
All black. I'm in my
t-shirt.
I'm in my improv troupe outfit.
Right. Is there any comedian that's like passionate about fashion? I feel like they're so and like the opposite kind of
It's-
people.
Some people do it. Some people wear suits and like zhuzh it up, so to speak. It's
Mhm.
hard when it's every night.
Right.
You know, to like get yourself dressed. I think that's the hardest part, you know, not to like, I don't think I'm pandering, but like for female comics, so much is said
Totally.
to a room full of people. If I wear jeans and a t-shirt, no one gives
no
a
one
shit.
thinks about it.
No one thinks about it. I think for female comics, like what you wear is like so much a part. Like, oh,
Totally.
this is going to be this type of comedy. This is going to be that type of comedy. So I think that's,
And there's more
definitely one of those
pressure to
things.
like diversify your outfits too for any woman, I think. Like I remember I went to Comedy Cellar, I saw Sarah Silverman,
mhm.
and then I Googled her like right after the show and she was wearing the same shirt in her Wikipedia page.
Okay.
She was on the thing.
Right.
And I'm like, I felt like almost like annoyed that she has to change the shirt, but I was also like, well, this picture is from like 4 years ago.
Well, maybe maybe she made a decision to like on stage.
That's
I
my
don't want.
outfit.
I just don't
It's
want to
not
have
about
to.
that, right? Yeah.
Right. It's like why do like they give kids uniforms in schools? The response is like so they don't have to think about it.
Right, because she
You
has
know?
more important things to think about.
Right. So,
Yeah.
yeah, tune in. Any other announcements we got here?
Oh, yeah. So we have a new game we're looking to get some submissions for. It's called Icky or Picky, a la your ick show. And people write in with their icks, and we'll tell you if you're being picky or if it is truly icky.
Ooh, I like this.
Yes,
'Cause-
it's fun.
What's that? Listener,
Oh, yes.
this is a listener
What, do we have
idea.
their name? Do we have their name? Okay.
Okay.
Listener, you know who you are.
Yeah.
No credit given.
Icky or picky? So the idea being, is your ick valid or are you being picky?
Right.
Love it. And listen, for that, we need context. You know, listen, I think all icks are valid because I think it comes from a place of like, you didn't really want to be on that date.
Right.
But I would say we need the scenario.
Yes.
Like, we need a full
'Cause sometimes-
fleshed out, you know,
Right.
if you give us the tale, like, you know, I can understand where I go, well, you give that person another chance.
Right. Sometimes you do see a single person who is kind of like disgusted or grossed out by something, and you're like, doesn't seem like you have a great attitude. Like, this isn't that big of a
This is
deal.
attitude problem. Well, that's
Right.
where picky comes
Yeah,
from.
right.
And I would also say sometimes they're doing it for the, you know, they've gotten a good react. It's a bit.
Right.
You know, like they've gotten the friends out, the
No
brunch
green
table.
texts, whatever,
Ah! You know, like I remember once I did a show and I was asking, it was while I was working on the ick bit for the special 37 is single. It's streaming now on Netflix. There was a woman in the crowd. She was saying that she's like, hey, I slept with this guy and he was homeless. And you're like, and the crowd like did the same face you just did, like what? And then she starts telling the story, and I literally I interjected. I was like, this isn't working.
Right.
I
You're
know you
making
thought this
weird.
this
Yeah.
was funny to someone. This got sad to people who don't know you. That's the thing. When you go on stage to do stand up, you realize, oh, I'm not telling a story to my friends anymore. So when
Right.
people like announce themselves, oh, here's my ick, and you go,
Eh.
yeah. And this isn't to say this person was a bad person, but like, walk it back.
Right.
You know, like, let me help you. I had to like hold
You're in
their
front
hand.
of a crowd. Right. Know
Right.
your audience. kind
But
thing.
some of these, that's where the icky and picky comes in.
Yeah.
Because you're going to write into us. We're going to read it. You're going to get an honest perspective. And we're going to tell you, I might want to walk this back.
Totally agree. Okay. So write it in uup@betches.com, or Candace, what is the phone number? Because we haven't really gotten a voicemail in a
I
while.
love a voicemail. I
think
love
this-
hearing them.
Yeah, and I think the icky or picky would be really good for a voicemail.
Mm.
So our voicemail number is, I know we have it on somewhere.
So we found the listener's name. Her name is Kim. Thank you for sending in Icky or Picky.
Yes.
It might be my mom. We're not sure. But okay. What is the phone number?
Phone number is 212-589-8903.
Just save that in your phone.
Yeah, save that in your phone.
Yeah, J&J.
Exactly. And give us you can't really text it, but you can leave a voicemail and you can.
You can text it.
Right. If you're going to text, just send an email, uup@betches.com.
It's a lot of stuff to take in. Let's get to the email.
Let's do it. Okay. J&J, let's jump right in. Love it.
We did jump right in today pretty much, right? What are we at? This is pretty
20-ish
good.
Minutes. Yeah, this is fairly standard for us.
19. We're at like 15.
20.
We started 3 minutes
Okay.
late. Yeah,
we're good. Let's jump right in. I've been seeing my partner for 6 months. We are crazy about each other and are committed. Everything is and has been amazing. So many green flags. One problem.
Wave him, girl.
I cannot stand his dog. She's 10 and he's had her since she was a puppy, less than 5 months old. She is horrible in every way. Incredibly smart, mischievous, always wants to play, never runs out of energy, demands attention. She'll shit in the house to rebel. She doesn't listen to commands, sheds like crazy, has literally her nose up our literal asses when we're eating. You name it. I hate this damn dog.
Women can never get along.
It's like your mom, the mom and the girlfriend.
Mom with the girlfriend. Girl with the girl dog.
I understand she was raised a certain way, but can't help shedding blah, blah, blah. That doesn't change what I'm dealing with. It's worth adding my partner's sister has contributed immensely to the dog's negative tendencies. My partner knows I don't adore the dog, but he doesn't know I can't stand her this much. What do I do? Sincerely, Betch versus Bitch.
Well, what do you think? Could you break up with someone because of their dog?
Well, I think it's more than the dog, right? Because like
Yeah.
you said, there aren't bad dogs. There's bad owners.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%.
So this dog is 10 years old, and you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I don't think you're really going to change the way a 10-year-old dog, which is I think 70 in dog years.
Right.
Like,
so that's on the bright side. It's almost dead.
well, I was going to say that. I know that's not really PC, but like she could run out the clock a little bit on this
Right.
one. Like dogs don't live forever.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I'm not hoping for that, but I'm just saying.
I didn't say I'm hoping. This is the reality.
Right. The
Yeah.
reality is that, and then, so that's something to consider. But I also think like she should have a talk with him about the way that he's raised the dog.
The dog is a reflection of him.
Yes.
And
She's blaming it on the sister, but like if it's his dog, it's his dog.
right. It's been with him at 10 years old. This I can understand being turned off by the way the dog behaves. Like this is how you train the dog.
Well,
you know,
someone's like
like
someone with a kid. And
Right.
the kid is just like
Horrific.
horrific, has, it hasn't been disciplined at all. And like, you're kind of like, what are you doing here?
Mhm.
Like, it's a little bit of it's a reflection on you.
I think it's okay for this person to put up boundaries. Like when I'm here, like I and you are putting yourself at risk between at 6 months
They could choose
in.
the dog instead of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're 6 months in. Everything's green flags, everything's wonderful. Hey, I don't like your dog. Well, goodbye. The dog's been here forever and you're out.
That's a possibility.
That's
yeah.
a possibility for him. I think if you're saying it's all green flags, we're wonderful, this is a committed relationship, I don't think it will be that way if you say to him, hey, like you need to choose one thing. I don't think you can just say, I
agree.
fucking hate your dog.
Yeah.
Like, I hate your dog and your sister's the problem is not a very negotiable
And
place.
choose that one thing and say how it makes you feel. So like what is she write?
Mischievous, I don't think that's where she should put her money into. Mischievous is too vague. It sounds like it's as,
here's how I would
Yeah.
Here's how I would start. I would say when your dog is like sniffing my butt when I'm trying to eat, it makes me not feel very comfortable here.
right.
It doesn't make me feel like homey,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes me uncomfortable. Is there something you could do about that?
Right. That's like, and you have to understand, men are fixers. Like if I heard that, I'd go, good. Okay. I'm going to put the dog in the crate or in a section of the house with the door closed when we eat.
Right.
Or we eat at your place. Or we do, there's going to be something I can do. I think saying you have a mischievous dog, I'd be like, I don't know what riddle you need me to solve.
Right.
Like, that's just like crazy. to
Right.
me.
Well, that's a vague problem.
Right.
Right. This, you need like again, I think the specifics are good. And I would start with like, not just the specific things that they're doing, but how the specific things are actually impacting you.
Mm.
Because like the problem, like the dog sniffing you doesn't seem like a problem unless you're claiming what the negative side effect of that is.
I just saw someone, their dog jumped up on me and their claws were going into my shirt. I go, you're putting holes in the shirt.
Right. That's
And
how
then
it's
you
a
go,
problem
and
to
then the
you.
person goes, oh my God, yeah, yank on the collar. I got holes in my shirt now because of you. Because of you.
Right.
You
yeah,
know,
not because
so,
the dog. That's
right.
Right.
And so now we got to have a policy here. When I come around, you got to yank, you know, you got to do something. And, you know, again, the dog people are going to be upset by even this language.
what are the dog people's argument going to be?
No, they're out of their minds. They've lost their minds.
Or they just don't like dogs. This woman just doesn't like dogs.
Right. She doesn't like dogs. If you come, and that's why this person needs to be careful with their language.
Right.
Mischievous, never runs out of energy. Oh, I guess you hate fun dogs.
Right.
You know, like
Happy, fun dogs.
Right. What's wrong? Dog likes to run around. That's what dogs do.
Right. I would lean on the incredibly smart thing. That seems like a compliment.
Right. Your dog is so smart. Also, it shits in the house.
Right.
I don't know.
Or like, you know, I love that your dog is so smart. It seems like she, you know, I mean, she knows how to get your attention. But when
Right.
when she's shitting in the house right next to me, it makes me feel like this isn't like a fun, relaxed place to be.
It is. I agree. And it is funny because I made the joke in the beginning about all these two women can't get along.
Yeah.
The way she describes the dog sounds like she's jealous of the dog and the dog is trying, or the dog is jealous of her. You want to
Right.
stay away from that. That sounds very like Looney Tunes. That
Yeah.
sounds
You'll
very
be positive about the dog. Your feeling about dogs overall.
right. You got to stay in the lane of this is an animal. It's not a dog. It's not this dog that like figured out a way to mess with you.
Right.
Because their email does read that way.
Right. It reads like
Mischievous.
it's like someone that the boyfriend used to hook up with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to stay away from that lane. You want to stay away from the lane of humanizing the pet.
Yes. And this is a good way to tell how the person takes into account like your discomforts and your feelings and what,
Absolutely.
you know, what's meaningful to you and how much they care about your comfort level.
Right. And you also have to be okay with his amount of effort towards this. Like, I think she has to see, like, okay, if you ask for this one thing and he tries to give it to you, you have to be okay with the dog otherwise.
Right.
Because it's like, hey, I don't want it sniffing my butt when we eat. It makes me feel uncomfortable to be here eating.
Totally.
And then he's like, so then you come over and the dog is put into a room and the dog's making a lot of noise in the other room. He tried. This is his 10-year-old dog. This is what as good as it's going to be.
Well, I would also ask him like how he got here. I'd be like, well, did you ever get a trainer for
Right.
the dog? Because like there's ways to like train dogs to not do these things.
Right.
And sometimes there's professional help. And I think she could ask about
Time
that.
to call Caesar.
Is that a
The
dog?
dog whisperer. No? Do we not call Caesar anymore?
Who's Caesar?
Caesar Milan?
As the one dog person in this room.
Yes, thank you.
I like dogs, by the way.
I know, you
might.
complimented my golden.
Yes, I love. In particular, I do love golden retrievers. I had a golden retriever growing up, and I do like. I don't think
Do you think you'll get a dog?
I think I will get a dog. I probably will get a golden retriever
You can
at
borrow
some
mine anytime.
point.
She's a lot.
Okay, well, that's not a good way to present the dog to me. But I don't dislike. This isn't at all to say that I dislike dogs.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think the only thing with like Caesar is people are more into like positive reinforcement training now, but that's the more like 2023 kind of
Gotcha.
Okay.
dog training.
And
Where was
Caesar
it-
was more negative reinforcement.
How do you
I don't
guys-
know. I know
How do you
very,
guys know
Yeah.
about this person?
he had a TV show. That's the
When?
only reason
Yeah,
I'm
he
not
was,
bringing up
like,
because I like
A
fucking hang with
celebrity,
Caesar.
Like he was like a celebrity. Remember when people were into like Animal Planet and stuff?
Okay, so this is like an older.
He's like
Oh,
a very
yeah.
well known like dog trainer.
It was
Okay.
like a 2004.
Yeah. I would
Yeah,
say
he
that.
was big at a certain point.
Got it.
But
I don't know how I've never heard of this.
pretty
person.
much along the lines of what you guys were saying too. A good dog, they say a good dog is a tired dog. So it goes back to the owner.
Oh,
Okay.
always. I mean,
You gotta
it's
hang
always
out with it, right?
it's
Yeah.
always the owner. These dogs a lot of times are used to mask the owner's insanity.
Right.
And they blame the dog and not themselves.
And just the smart thing is not a compliment. That just the incredibly
It's not smart. It's not complimentary. Why?
No, that's not a compliment at all. I tell people my dog is smart because she knows exactly what I want her to do, and she won't do it.
Well, this is this is back to
something.
the original point. This is back to my point of like, don't
was
make
like,
this
that's
dog
not-
sound like, you know, the
Right.
you know the ex that's fucking with you.
It's a
Right.
badge first.
Well, it's like when people talk about like their kids and they're like, she's just got like such a strong like mind. And it's like, oh, they never listen. That means like they never
Right.
listen to you ever. Right.
I don't know. You got a shitty
She's
kid.
so assertive. It means
Yeah.
like she's rude.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's do some awkward
Yeah.
sex. You ready?
Let's do it.
UUP at Betches.com, UUP at Betches.com. Keep sending your awkward sex stories. We also want you to use that phone number we gave before. What was the phone number?
If you go to our Instagram,
It's right
there's
on
a
there.
fun little contact button, and
Love
it has
it.
the phone number and the email right next to it.
Love
There it is.
U.up.podcast.
Yes.
Another easy one to remember.
Or 212-589-8903.
Hey, J&J, I recently got into your podcast a lot more after seeing your live show in D.C. Your episodes always brighten my day. I have an awkward sex story for you that is always a funny joke with me and my friends. Backstory. I went on a first date with this guy from Tinder. We didn't kiss or anything, but it was a really good date. A couple days later, he came over to my place to Netflix and chill and ended up getting down and dirty. We start making out. He goes down on me, and then we start to have sex. Everything felt great. Everything felt great so far until about 2 thrusts in. He says, "I'm about to come." I assumed he'd do the normal thing and finish on my stomach since he was already on top of me. But instead, he leaps off the bed and quickly waddles to my bathroom holding his hard dick in his hand. I'm still lying there on the bed, very confused, until he pops out of the bathroom and then continues to have sex with me 3 more times.
That's impressive.
Kind of horror.
Yeah.
Each time he sprinted off to the bathroom, waddling back and forth to finish into, I assume, the toilet. Guys had always finished on me or in my mouth. So
That's the usual way.
Right, the number one. Guys had always finished on me or in my mouth, so this waddle run to and from the bathroom was a new experience. But that's not all. I start sucking his dick later in the night, and without realizing he was about to finish, I took my mouth off for a second, only to have cum shoot straight into my eyeball. It basically glued my eyes shut for a few minutes, and now I was the one running to the bathroom half blinded, trying to rinse it all out. At this point, I just have mascara and cum dripping down my cheeks. I guess this didn't scare me off because 3.5 years later, I'm still dating this guy and can now make fun of him for waddling to the bathroom every time we had sex for the first few months. When I asked why he didn't just finish on me back then, he just said, "Well, I barely knew you." So all in all, a respectable king. Sincerely, come and run.
This guy seems very respectable.
Right.
I would like to think if I were a man, this is how I would do it.
Right.
Right.
That you would come elsewhere.
Yeah, you got to be. And then I like that he said they weren't comfortable enough maybe where he felt like he had the right to just come on her without saying anything. He
That
wanted to take
wouldn't be
care of
my
it.
move either. I'm with this guy.
Yeah.
The idea of like first time with someone you just pull out and you're just
Assume
like
you can come on them.
squirt
Yeah.
gun everywhere. Yeah, no, this isn't. I'm not gonna like start doing that. But I would also be wearing a condom.
Right.
So I did this. So I'm a condom guy.
Yeah, that was my other question. Like when she's like, usually the guy comes on my I guess
This is a message to be careful out there,
Right.
folks, because if it was a no condom, I'm on an IUD, I'm on some form of birth control, go for it. Good for you,
Right.
consensual, all that stuff.
and I'm cleared of STIs. Yeah,
Right. There's a fast and loose nature to this if there's no condom involved. Now, if he was wearing a condom and you're like, when a guy's in me, he pulls out, throws off the condom, sprays me like a hose, I'd be like, wow, these, I guess good for everyone involved.
Yeah.
I don't know. That
I
to
guess
me,
that would kind of defeat the purpose, right?
I guess, well, you have to really love coming on a woman.
Right.
If you're like, let me throw this condom off and just start spraying.
I agree. I think this is a good move on this guy. This would be a green flag for me.
Right. Good for him. I think he's also covering up that he was coming quickly.
Well, yeah, she did say like 2 thrusts.
Yeah,
and he
2
was-
thrusts and run.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've done that where I'm like, oh no.
Gotta be respectful.
Right. And then you come out, you try to like get yourself together a little bit so you can reload.
Right. Well, she said they kept having sex 3 times.
Right.
That's
So she's
a
up
lot.
for the reload.
Right. Can you do it that fast? I feel like you'd need a
I
little break.
cannot.
Right?
Yeah,
I think
no,
most people would need a break.
mine's more musket than machine gun. Gotta whittle, get it going again.
Right.
No, but yeah, this guy seems young and spry.
Yeah. Good for him. Seems like she's got herself a keeper. Candace called this the complete stranger no more. Love it. I liked her come and run.
Come and run's good. The reload is one of the names
Very
I had. Friendly finish because he finished friendly.
Yes.
A commotion.
There you go.
I'll come right back.
That's a good one.
That's a fun
the
one.
winner.
Isn't that fun?
Love it.
Okay. Let's do another email.
Okay, let's do it.
uup@betches.com. Go for it.
Hi, J&J, longtime listener here, huge fan of the pod. Fun fact, You Up was playing when I rolled my car on a wet rural road once. I
Oh my
walked away
God.
totally unscathed despite writing off my vehicle. The pod was still playing when I came to a stop upside down. Oh my God. She writes hee hee. So I
Right. She
assume it
wrote
was
hee
all-
hee. It sounds like she's taking this okay. I
It
hope.
sounds quite traumatic. I wonder what we were
Right.
saying.
What-
It was an awkward sex.
So he's coming everywhere.
And you're flipped upside down. Yeah, that's very scary. But
So scary.
hopefully we soothed you on your
Yeah.
car accident. Anyway, I'm here for you to take on my recent ghosting experience. I was the ghost. I, 29 female, recently moved to a new country, and my new flatmate had been hell bent on setting me up with his single friends. Recently, I hooked up with one of them, and we both had a great time. But shortly after, I told some of my new friends, also friends with my new flatmate, about it, and they all told me he was not a good guy and that he used to be in a relationship with one of my new friends. And while they were together, he was sending very dirty messages to her best friend. The best friend was corroborating the story. I really like these gals. And all of this sounded quite messy, so I had no clue how to approach the whole situation. This is a new friend group in a new city in a new country with a new hookup. After learning this news, I just stopped replying to the guy, but I still feel guilty. We only got together the one time, but I had a great time, and if he didn't have this history with my new friends, I probably would have been happy dating him, or at least hooking up again. I feel like an asshole leaving him on read? I don't know what you would call it.
I always thought red.
Red? We'll call it that.
Yeah.
I feel like an asshole leaving him on red, but I also just got close to these girls and it feels way too messy to keep seeing him. Now, so much time has passed that providing him with an explanation feels weird. He hasn't reached out for the past couple of weeks, so it'd be weird to say something, but I need to know. Is this an appropriate post-hookup ghost, or am I a total bitch? Do guys feel the same about ghosting as girls do? Should I have given so much weight to the words of people I'm still getting to know? What would have been an appropriate way to end it when the last message he got from me was "That was fun, we should do it again sometime"? Should I have told him the truth or blindsided him with a random "I'm just not feeling it"? Feedback desperately needed because the brunch table told me he deserves it. Thanks in advance, Ghosted for Friendship.
What do you? This is an interesting email because sometimes people write in and they think it's about one thing, and I actually think it's about another.
Okay.
Like I think this person went on a good date, is out there and saw a reason to like say, "Oh, I guess I shouldn't go down that road."
Right.
Now they're a little bit sad with dating. It's not going as well as that date that they remember,
Mhm.
and they're going, well, whatever. I kind of got rid of that guy.
Right.
I kind of like, and everyone has different experiences with everyone else. And sure, I heard some things, but, again, like everyone thinks that everyone's the main character of the movie
Yeah.
and thinks that, well, maybe I'm the secret sauce that makes this guy who sends nudes to people's best friends. Again, like this is why butts find seats.
Agreed.
So it sounds like they're having a little bit of a revisionist, look at how this all ended up, and they're sitting in Regretville, wondering if the brunch table has made their decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're to an extent you're right. Like you're only as interested as your options.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're feeling good about dating, you're probably more selective than when you're maybe feeling a little down. Then you're like, why did I throw out? Like women do that too. Why did I throw out that guy who seemed like we had a nice conversation?
Right. And I did
Um,
it because there was judgment cast upon me.
Right.
Like, not judgment. I think they felt they would be judged again. When you say the brunch table told me he deserves it, okay, now, the tribunal of women have spoken.
Right.
Like,
Well, I do think if
he shall never fuck again.
and so it shall be said.
Right.
And so it goes. I do think that if multiple people are saying the same thing about someone, not all the time, but in this case, the story seems fairly straightforward. Both people feel like they're backing it up. I do feel like this might have just been a good warning. And I actually also think it's probably like more important for her to have a group of friends than to
Right.
date this guy who this is probably true about. And so I don't think she did the wrong thing. And if the question is like, should she have said why? I don't think so.
No, so to go to I agree with everything you said. Like the idea of like not dating this guy, I can understand why they didn't.
Right.
I don't think they're wrong.
Right.
Ghosting, I wouldn't call this ghosting
Yeah.
because as we've talked about here on this podcast before, you've talked about it, like he never wrote back to say, hey, when do you want to do that date?
Right. Following up.
He never asked for an answer.
Yeah.
No answer. You gave an answer, then he never really followed up. So we kind of have to live in the land of like, you both kind of were like, I'm going to walk away.
Yeah. And I feel like men never do this where they feel like guilty about not answering someone. I feel like they would just not answer.
Yeah, I think it just goes down the phone. Like, I think
Yeah.
hey, we should do that again sometime is so kind of soft that it's like, you get texts from, 10
Right.
other
It wasn't
friends.
like they had a time set up and then she never answered.
Right.
Yeah.
This is not a ghosting. This is a fizzle.
I agree.
And I think I'm with you where it's like, what I think like I've been in scenarios where there's no reason to take something that's messy already and keep
Make it
making messier. Yeah.
Right.
Like I think like
Right.
walk away is always the
Well,
answer to me.
I think it would be one thing if he was like, if he followed up and then he was like, hey, I thought we had a great time. It seems like you're not answering or you're not interested anymore. Then I think if he's asking for I think I never give anyone an answer that they haven't asked the question to.
It's a good policy.
So I think if someone asked the question, I assume they want to know. If they didn't even ask the question, and again, like you just didn't follow up, to me, it's not your responsibility to tell them, something super negative about themselves.
Right. Well, and here's here's what they're to go back to. They're a little lonely. The
Mhm.
reason they never text them again, and the reason not to get into the, make a mess on the mess that's already going on. This guy's going to make himself sound better than he sounded to those people.
Right. He's not going to be like, oh, yeah, like that's my thing.
Right, right.
You're not into that?
You don't
Right.
like when people date someone and then date their try to get news from their best friend? You don't like that? What's wrong?
What's
No,
wrong
they're
with
gonna,
that?
tell the story in the kindest light to themselves. And like, so if you did say something to him, I think like you have to be ready for the.
It wouldn't take you anywhere. Yeah.
It's only gonna take you to seeing him again.
Right.
I think saying to this guy, hey, the reason I ghosted is because my friends told me that you were hooking up with one and texting the other. He's going to write back and go, well, there's another side of this story. There's three sides to every story. Your side, their side, and the truth.
Yes.
So it's somewhere in the middle. So he's going to give you a side that's going to be kind to him. And now you're going to be back in business with someone that might be,
Yes.
the resume tells you might be a liar.
And I would say 9 times out of 10 in these situations, like how it begins is how it will end. So
Right.
if there's already a lot of drama and chaos around this, I don't see it working out and being smooth sailing.
Right. Also, guy who doesn't really care that he's going out with a new person connected to the group where he's already fucked around in the group.
Right.
I got to assume he's got to,
Trying to
he's-
hook up.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like doesn't really see things the way he's been seen.
Right. Yeah. To me, it's kind of like if it's starting anything that starts off kind of dramatic
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking for a real relationship, I just think is not the best thing to invest any energy into.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's a whole group telling you not to do it, but it also like again, you have to like think of why you're asking this question.
Right.
Was I mean? They're asking
You
if
didn't care
they
that
were
much.
mean.
Yeah, that was the last message she sent. Again,
Right.
like, I wouldn't worry about it. If he followed up and asked for clarity, I think you could mention things that you heard, but it doesn't sound like he's done that. So I would let it alone. Leave it alone.
Let's play some games.
Let's do it.
UUP at Betches.com. UUP at Betches.com. The old classic, red flag or deal breaker.
We're back with red flag or deal breaker.
They kept their dead ex's dog. A dog-heavy episode.
Yeah.
I just adopted a dog, and I have anxiety. So naturally, I've been thinking about who would take my dog if I died.
Naturally. Naturally.
As you do.
You're right. Yes.
That's kind of a weird start to an email.
It is.
Who would have this if I
I don't know if
passed?
that's natural.
No,
That's a little-
My boyfriend offered to take her if that happened.
Look,
Right?
she's getting him. She's got a will.
Right, a living will. My boyfriend offered to take her if that happened, but I feel like that would hurt his dating prospects, and I would want him to date again. Oh, really?
What?
This person, you would want your boyfriend to date again? I think he will be. Yeah,
I don't.
This
think
isn't
that's
your
the
husband
case.
of 80 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
also,
good
why
thing he has
can't
your
he?
blessing.
Why can't he date again?
I don't mean to make. They're not dead, so I'm laughing at this.
It's an extremely weird hypothetical.
Right. But I feel like that would hurt his dating prospects, and I would want to date him to date again. Is it a fair thing for me to ask him to do? If you were going on a date with someone and you found out their dog was their dead girlfriend or boyfriend's, would it be a red flag or deal breaker? Realize it's a bit of a ridiculous one and hopefully very hypothetical, but curious to hear your thoughts or roasts of me. Thanks again. Dying is so not fetch. What do you think?
I think it would be a lot better than if you found out their dog was their current living ex's.
If it's their dead exes, I don't care. That doesn't matter to me at all. I'm just hoping they're ready to date.
That's what I'm saying. But
Right.
if they're ready to date, that is. I would be much more annoyed if someone had their regular ex's dog.
So they
That's messier.
co-parent a dog with their ex.
That's more of a red flag or deal breaker to me. If they had a relationship, the person died and they took the dog, I think that's like nice.
Right. I would have to know that like it is. If you co-parent a dog with your ex, I think that can happen.
Yeah.
I think I also need to know that you're like, everyone's not angry. I don't want to be dating someone that has this like dropping off the dog at McDonald's, but I can't make eye contact with the person coming to pick up the dog.
Right.
I don't want the drama associated with it. If you can co-parent a dog and you're like, we're cool, it's just the dog between us, I'm okay with it.
I'm still not into it. I'm like,
No.
This isn't a person. One of you take the dog.
Right.
There's no reason you need to be in each other's lives for like the rest of this dog's life. It's not a child. I'm sorry. It's not a child.
Yeah, that explanation makes me more towards your side because they even if they're cool with each other, they see each other all the time.
All the time for the rest of the dog's existence. It just to me is kind of like I understand people are very attached to their dogs. They maybe feel like children. They're not children. They're not people. And like, no one's saying you should get rid of the dog, but one person take custody of the dog.
Someone doesn't like the dog as much as the other.
In a
relationship.
One
Person's
more
like the
invested.
dog person.
Yes.
I've never seen a relation where they're equally. That's
Right.
probably the issue. Is someone's holding on to a lie that they're equally
To
in
be
love
annoying.
with this dog,
Right.
to be annoying, to
See the other person.
keep the
who
person,
knows, yeah.
to keep the other person on the hook. That's where I don't trust it. That's where I'm with you.
Right.
I can't believe in a world that there's equal love for this dog in the way a child.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right.
To me, it's not the same thing. One person take the dog will be very happy. move on.
Mm.
I don't know if it'd be a deal breaker, but it would definitely be a big red flag to me.
What if they co-parent the dog with their parents?
That's not as big of a deal.
Not
I
as
feel
big
like
a deal.
people drop their dogs off at their parents to watch them all the time if they go on a trip, if they have something where they can't take care of it. That doesn't bother me as much.
What if they had a dog and they had to give it up to their parents? They couldn't handle it.
I've seen people where they've
Right.
done that.
I see it a lot.
Right, yeah.
That's the one where I do notice it. I go, okay, I guess that's how you make decisions.
Right.
Like
Well,
it does become a to me, it is somewhat of a,
Well, would you rather they give the
reflection on
dog
them.
to the parents, or would you rather they just have the wild dog from the first email that they can't handle or take care of?
I'd give it to the parents.
Right.
But I can't I can't unsee that as a
Yeah, I mean,
character description
Everything
of you.
goes in their file.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Let's do another one.
okay. They regularly steal. Okay.
Okay.
The bar is pretty low. I've been sleeping with a friend of a friend after my recent breakup. We were hanging out recently, and he told me that he refuses to pay over $20 for a good cut of meat, so he just takes it.
What is he, Aladdin?
This is crazy.
Good cut of meat.
Robin
It's
Hood.
right. I shall not be paying for the loin of these.
Makes it a societal thing.
Right.
Right, yeah. I was in shock and I didn't know what to say, but I asked him how. He said he just puts it in his reusable grocery bag, and when he goes to check out, he puts everything on the belt except for the meat. All I could think about was how he had offered to cook me a steak one night, now realizing he didn't pay for it. Stolen goods.
Yeah, that's right.
He also told me that his mom is the same way, but with fruit. She thinks it's too expensive, so instead she just takes it without paying. Guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree and is stolen. I found this to be a major turnoff and a red flag for being cheap. I would say this is a deal breaker for me.
It's such a weird principle. That's where when
That's
these
almost more annoying
Yeah.
than stealing it and knowing that it's wrong. Like making it a societal thing
Right.
is more annoying to me.
because what it kind of becomes is like a judgment of people who do buy the meat.
Right.
Like it does. I'm not usually in the fuck vanilla means I love chocolate or vice versa, but it does give off the feeling of I'm judging anyone who's paying for meat and fruit.
right.
You idiots. Why don't you just steal it? And it's like, fuck off. Well, because I abide by the rules. I'd be like, check his bag at the market.
At the market. See how long the relationship
Right.
lasts.
I know people who do certain things like this.
Really?
I know people who go to the airport and just think they're like stealing snacks.
That's crazy.
It's like a crime of passion.
And then they just fuck off to their flight?
Yeah. They go, they just walk in, put a couple things in their pocket.
I had friends who like maybe as like a 12-year-old would like try to see if they could like steal some candy from a store or something. But I don't think I would like to be with that person or be in that person's family. It sounds like
Right.
they have a very slippery moral code.
The principle I don't like. It's
No.
if you did it once and you're like,
That's the person who's like, it's not cheating if I'm in a different zip code. Like, you don't get to make up your own rules. You live in this
Right,
society. In
right.
this society, it is not okay to like steal.
what if they didn't like how much they marked up the meat? And
They could not
they
buy
said to
it.
the store, they go, sell it to me for wholesale because I'm friends with you and I want to go to Taylor Swift.
Like in the oversharing debacle. Also a deal breaker.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, to me this is if it was more fun, I could get on
Like
board.
what?
I don't know if they were like I steal gum whenever I go to the store.
Gum is okay, but meat isn't.
The idea of like they can't be charging for meat like this. I don't
I'm
like
gonna
that.
take it. Yeah.
If they're just like, you know what, it just gets me wet when I take some chiclets. I don't know. Like it would excite me that it excites them, but it has to be crime of passion would be less problematic to me
Right.
than I'm
I
not giving these people meat money.
I would say petty thief. I'm out. If you're gonna steal, do something like Enronnie or something.
Let's
Just kidding, I'm
go
just
big.
kidding.
What if it's like Sephora? What if someone
Man stealing.
Well, let me just I guess if you change the the meat thing makes it sound so Robin Hood, so Aladdin. What if it's someone like? Do you have any friends that go into Sephora and they're like,
No.
"It's too expensive.
Who
This
do you
shit
think
shouldn't."
I hang
I don't
out
know.
No, I do not have any friends who are just like casually stealing. And if they did, I would say something.
Right.
I would be like,
You turn them in to Mr. Sephora.
Mr. Sephora.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, would you'd be if you were the friend and they just started stealing from a store, you'd be cool with it?
No, I'd be like, why?
Right.
What are you doing? But I don't know. Something about makeup to me, like I don't know. Maybe It just seems like the type of place someone would be like, they're getting too much for this shit, anyways. I don't know. I'm not saying I've heard of such a thing. I'm just
Right. I don't think that like actively stealing from anything is just is a good sign of someone's moral code to come.
what.
Like to me, if that happened and then the good person cheated on me, I would have to not be surprised.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
because
it can go-
you can make an excuse for doing anything that you feel like doing. You're sort of like creating your own rules.
Totally. Yeah, I guess it can go one way or another. One way is like I'm a cheater because I create my own rules, and the other way is like, no, I'm doing this because it's not fair.
Right. And
And
also like
They do anything for your family. Like when they become a part of your family, they're like, we get ours.
yeah, I don't
don't
like
know.
that.
Tough one
vibe.
to be around.
I think
I'm
the
out.
steak thing is also like they're charging that price because they're charged a higher price. Like this is a business.
Right. Right. They didn't do this to get you.
Right. And I think just that attitude to me is sort of like a bad sign of things to come.
Yes. Let's do one more.
Yes.
They creep on your IG ahead of a date. I have a red flag deal breaker to discuss with you. I'm 30-something in Chicago on the apps, and I have had numerous men that I match with creep on my Instagram stories and LinkedIn, but never slide into my DMs or talk to me on the dating app. A few others have talked to me on the dating app, and one I went on a date with. The guy I went on a date with said that he had creeped on my profile because he wanted to make sure that I was real and that he wasn't being catfished. And when I told him that I saw him up on my stories, he was embarrassed. While I get that everyone creeps, isn't it a bit weird to creep on platforms that notify people or leave evidence that you were there? Are men and women treated the same on this when caught? Or at the end of the day, is it a matter of attraction, as in my ick meter wouldn't be as high if I was attracted? Curious to know your thoughts. Google generation gal. What do you think?
I think she's got it in the last part. It's like only creepy if you're not into the person.
Right.
Otherwise, I think it's pretty standard to like Google or look someone up before you go on a date with them.
Yeah, I think looking at, and especially if you have an open Instagram.
Yeah.
Like,
to me,
I
it's like
kinda-
that's an invitation to look.
Right. And if, I don't know, to me it sounds like, I don't want to make assumptions, but like that it's a little bit easy to find your Instagram.
Right.
So I think everyone does stuff for a reason. It seems as though
Looking at the stories, I agree, is like
you don't have to go
someone
that far.
could see that. I would maybe not.
I do also understand that like people do things because they want to like give a signal. They
Right.
want you to make a move. So these guys that are creeping on your stories, they want you to see them a little bit. You know, they
Right.
want you to go, hey, what are you doing here?
You have
know?
another connection, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I think like what they're doing is, yeah, of course it's a little creepy, a little bit, but not even creepy.
I don't think it's creepy in this day and age.
I don't
It's
think
not
so
like
either,
if
you're
this was like 30 years ago and someone was driving past your house to see if they saw you, that would be creepy.
Right.
This is like a standard thing that everyone does. I've never gone on a date with someone that I haven't Googled before,
Right.
to be honest. So
Right. And if it was a woman, maybe you wouldn't even think twice because you'd be like, they're making sure you're safe. You know,
right.
like
Yeah.
these guys are, you know, the idea of like them looking you up to make sure you're real, not catfish. That's an excuse that they can say. That's
Right.
an
They
easier
want
one.
They want to see what you look like. They want more pictures to decide if it's worth getting off their couch.
If I'm offered the option of more or less pictures, I'm taking more every single time.
Right. Do you
so
look
if you
up
have an
everyone?
everyone.
Yeah.
So if you have an open account, of course I'm going to look at the more pictures that are there.
Right.
Now, if you're posting on stories all the time, it is tempting. You
Right.
see that like red
Yeah.
circle, green circle, or whatever the color is. You see that they got
I'm
something
tempted
there.
when I look at someone's profile
course.
that he, would notice. I'm like,
What are they sharing about their life?
Right.
What type of sharer are they? So then you can
and
get
you're
a
hoping so many people look at it that they don't even look at the story.
That could be the
hopefully.
case, or they could be like, I want you to see that I looked, that I'm
Yeah.
taking interest, that maybe you'll be more pursuant of me, and I can kind of take advantage of that version of our relationship too.
Yeah. I
So-
would say neither red flag nor deal breaker.
Yeah, it's like nothing. It's just
Yeah.
what it is.
I think it's almost weirder to pretend. Like the fact that he admitted that he did it, I think is almost a better sign
Right.
than pretending that you've never looked when you did.
Right. And I think also red flag deal breaker, if someone's like, you looked at mine and you were like weirded out by that, it would be a little bit of a bad taste for me.
Right.
Because you're not really admitting to,
Being in the world that we live in.
right.
Yeah.
There's no awareness.
And again, if you don't want anyone to look, put yourself on private.
Right.
That's why you have the option. Anyway, we did it.
We solved dating again.
Proud of us.
Per usual.
Yes, we'll be back on Sunday.
Boom.
The You Up podcast is produced by Jorge Morales-Pico, Sean Kilby, and Candice Maniga. Editing by Jorge Morales-Pico and Shannon Sassone. Social media by Candice Maniga. Guest booking by Ali Friedlander. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.